So throughout the history of the homebrew videos we've been putting out, all of our guys have been talking about long guns up until today. I'm very happy to be the first one to be reviewing a pistol, or my pistol, because this is quickly becoming my favorite handgun that I own. And we're talking about my Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 full size with a Surefire X300 and a Sugarcon SRO. We'll come back to what the holster is and why I like it here in a second, but first let's talk about the M&P. Why did I go with the M&P? I still believe that to this day, the M&P 2.0 is the most underrated polymer gun on the shelf, period. The price point that it comes at, the feature set that's included with it, and what this gun is capable of doing out of the box is just simply unmatched. And for anybody who's been watching our shooting releases for a while, you know that I shot this gun in the stock configuration for a while. I took several classes with it. I even shot some pretty hard standards with it and earned some prizes with this gun in stock configuration. I didn't start customizing the gun until I really refined my palette for what the gun would do better with for me. And the very first thing I changed on it was I put a red dot on it.
You don't say!
I went with the Sugarcon SRO because it is, bar none, the best pistol optic on the planet for shooters. Reason being that great big fishbowl of a window that you're looking through. I went with the 1 minute dot on this one for precision's sake. It makes it very easy to shoot the gun precisely. And if I run the brightness a little bit brighter, it makes it very easy to find as well when it's a nice bright dot inside that window. The very next upgrade I did was the Floyd's Magwell. This is the only thing on the factory M&P that I think really needs to be changed, and that's just the shape and the geometry of the Magwell. Now here's the thing, if you're a concealed carrier and you don't perform a lot of reloads for whatever reason, then the factory Magwell is fine. You don't have to change it. The only reason why I put the Magwell on the gun is because I shoot performance standards that require reloads in them. So I want every advantage that I can get. And not to mention, it kind of looks sick. On top of the Floyd's Magwell, I also went with the Floyd's base plates. The one that's in the gun is a +2. The one that I carry as a spare is a +6. I've got several of these. And I like the base plates. They're aluminum, so you drop on the floor, they get beat up, and everything's fine. The added capacity is just kind of a bonus in my opinion. Up next, I made a recent discovery that rather than stippling the gun, which for the sake of competition would put me into a different division, I was introduced to a company called Vicious Grips, and they make a very aggressive grip tape that we install here at GFL now. It mimics the feel of like a silicon carbide spray without being a permanent modification to the gun. So if you're shooting competition, if you're shooting the SSP, the stock service pistol division, and you don't want to permanently modify your frame via stippling, well, now you have another option that's better than skateboard grip tape. The adhesive is strong. Since I've put this on, I probably have about 500 to 800 rounds through the gun, and the tape's not peeling up. The texture is still nice and strong, and it's not super killer on my belly because I carry appendix. The upgrade that came after that was something that was kind of, we'll call it an act of destiny, is the Apex trigger that went into the gun. I didn't have any intention of installing an Apex on this M&P. I really feel like the factory trigger is good enough. It doesn't need the Apex. However, when somebody comes at you and says, hey, you want to get a good deal on an Apex trigger? You say yes. So I promptly took it back to our gunsmith, Brian, and he did a masterful job of not only installing the trigger, but tuning the trigger to my preference. He knows that I've spent a lot of time shooting 2011s with my Staccato, and I'm still a big fan of that. But he knows that the thing I like about that gun is the short take up and the crisp break of the trigger. And he was able to mimic it in this Apex. I didn't think it could be done. I've shot Apexes in the past, and this is second to none, in my opinion. This trigger and the one that's in Mike's, oddly enough, because he did the exact same trigger job again in Mike's gun, is just a work of art. Now this leads us to the current day. Just recently, I had a threaded barrel on the gun from the factory, and it was just kind of sitting there. And I've shot the gun suppressed. It is fun to shoot suppressed, but really I wanted to put a comp on the gun. So I went with the agency, and I chose a 2-port agency comp. And the comp did make a very slight difference. Now here's the thing. It's taken me a little bit of getting used to because it changed the recoil impulse. It's not that I think that it made the recoil necessarily lighter, but what it did do is make my dot path a little bit more predictable with my grips. And that's a huge benefit. So what this video is, or at least what I hope is coming across, is that this is my love letter to the M&P and to our gunsmiths. You put those two together and you get something pretty fantastic. And I'll tell you a funny little thing. When I first brought it back there, Brian had just started working here. And when I told him, hey, I have an M&P, he perks up in his chair and he goes, yes? And we started talking about it. And when you bring your gun to a gunsmith and the gunsmith is excited to work on your gun, that's a really good sign is what's about to come. And as soon as I picked the gun up from the gunsmith, the first thing I went to go do was to go shoot it. And immediately I was in love. The reduced take up and the clean break led me to shooting the gun from a mathematical standpoint just as good as my Staccato 2011. And for those of you inflamed by that statement, I encourage you go check out the channel. There's tons of evidence that's empirical that you can't argue with. And now my other favorite part about this is actually the holster that I carry it in. So this holster is from Tier 1 Concealed. It's the Modern Samurai Project Flex version. So this is kind of an omnivore holster. It'll eat everything that's a service pistol with a Surefire X300. And this does a perfect job of holding the gun in place, and it is a fast holster. It does a really good job of making my grip predictable on the gun because I know where it is at all times. And for anybody who carries appendix, I highly recommend that you put a wedge on the bottom edge of your holster because it makes comfort a whole lot better for us big guys. It also helps in concealment as well. When you find a gun that fits you and that you can perform with without having to work hard at it, that says something. And I found another one to add to my stable in the M&P 2.0. And between the interchangeable back straps, the ability to customize the gun to an umpteenth degree, between you and the gunsmith, you can turn it into something that'll benefit you in every way, shape, and form. That's why I'm such a big fan of the M&P platform. And to be fair, we can do the same thing with Glocks. We can do the same thing with a variety of other guns, but this gun just speaks volumes to me because of how it's shot from the factory setting. And now that I've got it tuned up, it's only getting better each and every time I shoot it. So that wraps up our first pistol episode for Homebrew. If you guys liked it, tell me about it. And if there's anything else you'd like to see, let me know. There's gonna be a lot of stuff coming down the pipe here in the very near future. I'm super excited for this gun. And if I'm here in the shop and you wanna shoot it, flag me down, go, hey, let me shoot your M&P. And if I've got it on me, you're more than welcome to try it. And as usual, if you have any questions about anything you've seen or anything about training, you can check out the link tree in the description. We'll get you guys on the good foot and pop into online sales and tell Mike hi. I'll see you guys next time. Y'all be safe.
Hey, I'm Mike, and I'm going to do my M&P home number.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could.